You ready?
Yep.
Okay. We recently finished our journey to visit a yarn store in all 50 states. It took us 16 months, 56,000 miles, and countless skeins of yarn. We thought we would sit down together and reflect on this journey and answer some of your questions about the trip. So Kit, you're the stats person. So I thought we'd start with some stats from our trip. Will you just start by reading those off?
Yes. So we went to all 50 states, 155 yarn stores, 8 yarn festivals. We slept in 231 different places. And we went to 52 national parks and at least 61 other NPS sites.
And this is all approximate because I was doing a really good job keeping track of everything for like the first year, and then I kind of fell off in the last few weeks. This is a bit of what our journey looked like. We were all over the place. We kind of started here in Tennessee, and then we made our way. Well, actually, you're better at explaining this. Do you want to do like the super quick summary?
Yeah, so we went from Tennessee basically to Chicago and did Route 66, so Chicago to LA. And then we made our way back east, ended up in New York for Rhinebeck. And then we basically started in the southeast. We took I-10 all the way to California. We went up and down the 5 like countless times and then filled out the rest of the West and Midwest as we went. Alaska and Hawaii were in there at some point, and then we finished in New England.
And we have a map that has all of the yarn stores that we visited and filmed tours at pinned. So we'll make sure to link that. It's a really great resource if you are planning a trip or going to a state. And you can just click on the pink yarn balls and it will take you straight to the tours. So people have lots of questions about our trip, about like favorites and yarn stores and parks. So we're going to answer all of those things, but I feel like it was going to be this is going to be like a good way for us to like mentally wrap up the trip. We're at a point now where we finished back in December. It is now end of April. So we're like just over 4 months out from the trip. We've been staying here at my parents' house in Tennessee, and we are leaving in just a couple of days to start our next adventure, which is going to be traveling through Canada. So I feel like this is like the end cap on this one. And I just wanted to ask you, like, how do you feel coming out of the 50 states trip?
Good, I guess. I don't know. I'm excited to, I guess, get back in it. I really miss being in the van.
Yeah.
I think there's places I want to go back to. We didn't get to spend a lot of time, and then places I want to go back to just because it was really awesome.
Yeah, I'm excited too. And just to like, I'm anxious a little bit about living in the van again because there's a lot of logistics. There's a lot of things that are uncomfortable, but at the end of the day, it's worth it. And I feel like I'm mentally better prepared going into this trip because I know what to expect. And it's also shorter term. So I've got our questions broken down into a few different topics. We're going to cover yarny things, food, one of our favorites, travel, and then some more personal questions. But first, we're going to start with our origin story. So one of the first questions we got is from Sally, and they said, first, I love your channel. I came in a bit mid-year last year, and I've been trying to catch up on all the things. So I apologize in advance if these are redundant questions. They're not redundant because we're going to have other people ask the same thing. So for your wrap-up video, what exactly is yours and Kent's origin story? Tennessee to New York City apartment to van life. Do either or both of you have other jobs, something more traditional and means of earning a living? And are you heading out on the road again, or where might you lay down some roots? So we can answer that. Do you want to start?
Yeah. So origin story.
Yeah.
It was, I think, a sunny afternoon in Fort Worth, Texas in March of 1990.
Oh my gosh.
And I came into the world.
Okay. Let's go skip a little more forward into maybe Texas. Well, maybe when we met.
Yeah. So we met in like 2015?
Yeah, I think that's right.
14, 15? Mm-hmm. I don't know, we dated for a while, got married in 2017. Mm-hmm. Lived in Texas through 2020.
Yep.
Moved to New York City in April of 21. We were there until like July of 24.
Yeah. 23. Yeah.
23. And then we traveled all of the rest of 23, all of 24.
Yep.
Now we're in 2025.
And now we're in 2025. And we made that first like big leap in our life going from Texas to New York City because we were just looking for a change. And then I think same thing. Once we had felt comfortable in New York City, we were looking for like the next exciting adventure. We also wanted to travel, but because we have our dog Toaster, we didn't want to travel internationally or do something that required a plane. And so that's how the van kind of came to mind. And then we thought, well, we're already working for my business, Love and Stitches. Both of us were doing that full time at that point already. And so we were like, well, what if we could make this into a project where we're able to travel and film tours at yarn stores across the US? So that idea was kind of born in late 2022. And we got started on that in 2023. And now we're here today. Now we're going to get into more yarn store questions. So shout out to this user. I don't know exactly how to say it. I think it's like Fuerte541, but they put together like a list of maybe 15 to 20 questions and basically planned this video for us. I think we're going to answer most of their questions, but we're going to start with the yarn one. So I haven't really prepared for this. We're just going to answer them. See what comes to mind. So which yarn store that we visited was the biggest? And which one was the smallest? This is a challenge to our memory. So I think for me, biggest, first thing that comes to mind is Yarn Barn in Kansas. What city was that in?
Lawrence.
In Lawrence, Kansas. It's huge. It has 3 levels. I think the yarn store is on the street level. And then down in the basement, they do a lot of shipping. So they have a lot of storage. What was that?
I don't know.
Like a leaf or something?
Yeah.
And then they have recently acquired some of the rooms in the 3rd floor, which they use for classroom space, which is super cool. Are there any other, there's been some pretty big yarn stores.
Eat Sleep Knit was really big.
Oh, yeah. Jimmy Bean's Wool, I would say it was pretty big, but like the warehouse part of it was huge as well.
Yeah.
And then also Knit Stars, which is no longer a physical location, but that was a large store as well.
Mm-hmm.
What about the smallest ones?
The 2 that come to mind are the Blue U that was in West Virginia.
Yeah, definitely.
And then
So cute. They had so much yarn.
I think it was Walther Handmade. That was like on the Tennessee Yarn Crawl.
Yeah, one of our first stores that we went to.
And actually, you know what else is pretty small? We didn't show it in the San Francisco Yarn Crawl or the Bay Area Yarn Crawl, but it was the one that opened.
Coven of Stitches.
Yeah.
In Almeida, I think is what it's called.
That was a pretty small footprint as well.
Yeah.
Lots of yarn in all these places, but smaller footprints.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, this is an interesting one, but which yarn store was the hardest location to reach? Alaska? Hawaii? I mean, just in general. I guess thinking more from like once you're already there.
Yeah. I mean, for us in the van, Imaginates and Firebird yarns were tough just because it was in San Francisco. If you weren't in the van, they'd be so easy to get to. But for us, it was tough finding parking in the city.
Just because of the van. Like, I almost think that really broke us doing those 20 yarn stores in like 3 days. That was not a good plan. I think we've learned from that. But because our van is longer than a normal car, we can really only do parallel parking if we're the last car. And that was just not happening. Plus all the hills.
Yeah.
And then the van scraped on one of those like crests. Oh, that was a tough day.
That was.
Which yarn store was in the prettiest location? Well, I'm thinking of, we did not do a tour at this one, but there is a yarn store like 1 mile outside of Denali National Park.
Oh, yeah.
It is called, it's something with a P, and I'm picturing the yarn label right now. Polychrome Fibers. And I mean, that was a pretty cool location.
Yeah. I mean, the ones in Utah, Pettifours and Pearls.
Yeah.
Was really cool. The one we went to in Ogden, I can't remember the name of it, was in a really cool spot.
That one had a lot of like
Wood.
old built-ins and
Yeah.
stuff. It was really, really pretty.
Royal Bee, right? That's one in Pacifica. It's like right by the beach.
Yes. Oh, and they had like a really cool yard. That one was beautiful.
The one in Mississippi, you're like
On
100
the beach.
feet from the beach,
Yeah.
basically. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, another one that kind of comes to mind is the kudzu cottage
Oh,
in
yeah.
Tennessee, because it was covered in kudzu, which is like like a vine basically that just overgrows, and it's kind of a nuisance, but it was really pretty.
There's a lot of places in really pretty spots.
I know. What are our top 5 yarn stores? That's really tough. I have some favorites, but it's hard to even say like top 5 because every yarn store is great for a different reason.
There's an ant on you.
Where? Oh, it's okay. You had a giant one on you earlier. I just let you figure it out.
Okay. Was that the big noise we heard?
Yeah, giant ant.
I don't know if I really have favorites. Like, I think something that's been really cool. We said 155 yarn stores.
Mhm.
I don't think there are any that feel like super similar.
Mm-mm.
I mean, you see sometimes the same things at, different places, but I feel pretty confident. Like, if you showed me a picture of any of them, I could recognize which store it was. So it's
Right.
really hard to like distinguish them at that point. And then so many people we met are awesome.
Mm-hmm.
It's just hard to really say favorites.
Yeah. I think one that stands out for me, and I've said this before, when asked, is the yarn store in Colorado. And of course, now I'm like blanking on the
Lambspun.
name. Yeah, Lambspun of Colorado. And the reason that one for me stands out is because I had read an entire cozy murder mystery book series that's based on, or like the setting is in that yarn store. And so it was just super surreal to have read, maybe 15 books about this store, and then to actually get to go in person and see like the same table that the character sat at, and like the cafe that's in the back. And then they had really awesome pie, and the character was also always talking about pie. And like, that was just a really cool experience for me. The Black Squirrel, I believe is called, in Berkeley,
Mhm.
California. That one was another one that, like, for me, I think the yarn store is a favorite based on people and vibes. And we just like wanted to hang out there all day long. It was just a really great place.
Yeah, I think that's like almost what separates my mind is like where did not maybe I had the most fun, but like really memorable times, which again I think was a lot of places.
Right.
But like Skane in Rhode Island was an awesome
Yep.
place.
Yep.
The one in Urbana, Iowa,
Oh yeah, Fiber Hearts.
Fiber Heart was great.
That was really cool.
And like people we've seen later, like I've like been friends with, right? So like Red Hill on
Yeah.
the Indiana Yarn Crawl was awesome.
Yeah.
Or people we see later, like we've seen Leading Men so many places, like I'm excited to see them again. Or Yarn Birds now that we've gone there. I mean, it's really hard to pick a favorite.
Yeah. Okay, switching gears to yarn festivals. You were able to visit some yarn festivals. Which was your favorite to attend? Which ones are you excited to go to again this year? And then are there any we weren't able to go to and we wish that we had? So I guess let's cover where we went. Which yarn festivals we went to. So we went to Rhinebeck
Mm-hmm.
twice, I think, during this trip.
Flock.
Flock
We
for the
went
first
to
time.
New Mexico, the one in New Mexico, like Santa Fe
Yeah, something like that.
or Albuquerque, something. It's including yarn crawls.
Yeah, I think did I include yarn crawls? I don't know.
Because if you did yarn crawls, there was the Indiana Pearl,
Uh-huh.
the Tennessee.
Yarn crawl, yeah.
That's not yarn crawl, is it? It's the yarn. Isn't it a different word than crawl?
Is it shop pop or something like that?
Yarn.
No, that's not right. Here, let me look on my list.
Bay Area Yarn Crawl, Rose City Yarn Crawl.
No, I did not count crawls. So I have DFW Fiberfest,
Okay.
the one in New Mexico.
Mhm.
I have I counted all the individual events in New York. So like Indie
okay.
Untangled and what was a new one that we went to this past year?
They gave me chocolate. I should remember.
I can see the logo, but I can't remember what it's called.
Cake.
It was great. Cake. And then we went to the one in Louisiana. We went to Yarny Gras.
Yes.
We went to Flock in Washington. we are going back to Flock this year, and we're also going to a new one this year. We're going to be going to Knit City in Montreal very soon. So I'm really excited for that. Are there any others that I want to make sure that we get to?
We're going to Maryland Sheep and Wool.
We're going to Maryland Sheep and Wool and Yarn
Yarn-centric.
Centric for the first time, which will be fun.
We might end up back at DFW this year.
Maybe. I've always wanted to go to H&H, but I think you have to be invited, right? Because I think that's like more like an industry one. And we're in like a gray area because we're not really like established professional industry. And then I'd like to go to SAF at some point because that's not too far from us. I think it's normally in North Carolina. That would be cool to go to. Oh, and we went to the new one here in Tennessee.
Oh, yeah.
This year.
Nash
I don't
Yarn
even
Fest.
have that on my list because it wasn't really part of like our travel time, but we went to Nash Yarn Fest. So yeah, we've done a lot.
Yeah.
Which state had the most yarn stores and which state had the least?
Well, least is easy because I think Mississippi only had 2.
Yeah.
At least at the time we were there. It may have changed.
Only 2 yarn stores. And probably runner-up is Wyoming. Maybe? We went to all the yarn stores, like literally all of the yarn stores in Wyoming, which was 7 or 8, something like that.
Yeah, Delaware only had a couple as well.
Oh, I guess that's true. Yeah. As far as the most go, I don't really know the answer to that because I don't think we went to all of the yarn stores in any other states. But there are a ton in California. We went to 20 stores, 1 or 2 stores just in the Bay Area of California. There's also 8 or 9 or 10 yarn stores in the Portland area of Oregon.
Yeah, I think California probably has the most.
Yeah. But it's also one of the biggest states with the most people.
Yeah.
So it's hard to like compare. Okay, last yarny one here because we get this question a lot framed in different ways for different states. So Fabulous Butterfly said, congratulations on finishing your state's project. My question is really a request. Will you please explore New York State yarn stores outside of New York City at some point? There are tons of great stores, communities, events, guilds, etc. in Western New York, especially Rochester and Buffalo. Thank you so much for all the work you put into everything y'all do. So this was always my biggest like, not fear. I don't know what the right word is for it. Like feeling like we're disappointing people by not going to the place, you know, their favorite yarn store. And we obviously did not get to every part of every state. I mean, I think the state we were in for the shortest amount of time was Minnesota. We were there for like 36 hours probably. So we're not done. I would say we're not done traveling yet. We're not going to do the same thing where we like try to go to all 50 states again or explore all 50 states, or maybe even we're probably not even going to do the yarn store tours in the same way that we have been doing them, but we're not done exploring. So I can't say for sure we're like going to Western New York or anything like that. But we are planning to do more traveling and do more yarn stores and meet more people and share more things.
Definitely.
Now we're going to get into one of my favorite subjects, which is food. This one will be a short one. So somebody asked us to do a road trip's food rating list. So I kind of broke this down into a couple of different things. So I think let's first start with snacks. What are your favorite road trip snacks?
Oh, man. I'm not sure what my favorite road trip snacks are.
I feel like we didn't really feel like this was a road trip in that we were like getting ourselves special things when we would travel because it was just our day to day. So if we got like special treats for every thing we did, it would be not great for us.
Yeah, I guess like on a normal road trip, like not this. Like Reese's Fast Break kind of slaps.
Yeah, that's really good. I like Gardettos, which is like the fancy Chex Mix.
Like the Cheeto Puffs. Pretty solid.
Oh, I'm hungry. I need lunch.
Arby's is like peak road trip. I don't know why. I think we stopped there all the time, like as a kid when we were driving long distances.
Arby's.
So Arby's just makes me feel like I have another 6 hours in the car, but at least I get a break right now.
And Dairy Queen. I think for good is good. I thought we'd talk about what we ate the most, like what we cooked the most in the van, because we did try to cook as much as possible, but it is tricky because we have one burner. We have a limited amount of water to wash dishes. We don't have an oven. We did get a toaster oven like a year in, which was really nice because then we could make like roasted vegetables. I can make toast. So I'm happy that we have that. And we have a little rice cooker.
Yeah.
I feel like we ate tacos, like ground turkey or ground beef tacos all of the time. What else did you cook? Hints to cook.
I'm trying to think. Breakfast. I did breakfast burritos a lot.
Yeah.
You did your own thing for breakfast. You did overnight
for
a long time.
Overnight oats, and I still don't think I can eat them right now. Like I way overdid it.
We did a lot of sandwiches, like for lunch. Maybe too many.
Peanut butter and honey sandwiches, like
so good.
They are good, but it's gonna take me a while to like be able to eat those again.
Eat it today for lunch. Yeah, I don't even know what we did a lot for dinner. We did like those beef bowls a lot.
Yeah. Rice and some kind of meat and a sauce and vegetables.
Yeah.
That's probably what we're gonna end up doing again.
Yeah.
Favorite fast food, because every region and sometimes state has different fast food. So I think Del Taco was probably a new favorite for us.
Del Taco rose up real quick.
Yeah, when we were on the West Coast.
Yeah.
Whataburger always is good.
Wiener Schnitzel when we're further west.
Yes. Freddy's in the Midwest, I really liked trying lots of different custard. And like there's more than one place, but Freddy's was a really good one.
Not food, but swig. I love it. I'm all about it.
I also enjoyed trying fry sauce when we were in like Utah and Idaho. I know that's a thing like more places now, but it seemed to really be a thing. We went to a lot of what do you call them? Like the burger,
like a drive-in
burger place. That was always fun to try because they were local. Yeah, that was always really good. Which state has the best food?
I have a tie for first, I think.
Wait, I just thought of one more fast food place.
Oh.
That has Frings. Not Kansas, oh my gosh, in Nebraska.
Oh, Runza.
Runza. Oh,
Runza's a vibe.
Runza. Okay, sorry.
Oh, tie for best food?
Yeah.
Louisiana and Hawaii.
Ooh, that's actually, yeah. Kent had Spam Musubi like 3 times a day in Hawaii.
I loved it. Love 7-Eleven.
Yeah, that was not good for you, but it was delicious. And also just like poke and fish and just fruit. I had like acai bowls all the time. Hawaii was really good.
Yeah.
Louisiana.
It's probably my favorite cuisine.
What do you like to get?
I mean, everything. I'm a big in season, like crawfish, like etouffee.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's all of it.
All the fried stuff.
Yeah. And all the fried stuff.
Yeah.
Rhode Island was good food, good seafood.
Yeah, Rhode Island.
Had oysters, and they were like, this was caught down this road over here, and that one was caught over there. And
yeah.
It was very cool.
Yeah. It was really good.
What's your favorite food state?
Well, I feel like...
Oh, New Mexico as well. I forgot. New Mexico in that 3 slot.
Okay. Why? For the, like, sauce, the chili?
Yeah, the chili, like, on everything. Mm-hmm. Awesome. Blake's Lotta Burger. Really throw the chilies on that.
Blake's Lotta Burger. Oh, my gosh. That actually was really good.
Yeah.
I think what's hard for me to look past is having variety. And like, that's what I think of when I think of like a good food city is like having lots of options. And I feel like you're not going to get anything better than like the Northeast, like New York City, surrounding areas in New Jersey. Like there's just nothing that really has that. And I really miss that. But like, as far as like its own cuisine, I'd probably go with Hawaii. It was really good. Think about that.
Texas in the top 5 too.
Definitely wasn't.
Dang.
You don't have to keep that in.
I'm going to. I'm going to put definitely wasn't and blur it out so people get upset.
Okay. And I think this comes from all the questions, but how many Whataburgers did we visit?
Not a lot, honestly. Like when you're in Florida to see my mom, we went to a couple recently.
Yeah, that's
But
true.
beyond that, we weren't really.
They're not in a ton of places. They're in the Southeast, but still mostly Texas and
Yeah.
Florida. So we'll go again soon.
Mhm.
Okay, now we're moving on to travel. So we're starting strong with several people asked about our top states. So this one says, what are your top 5 states? Your least favorite states, which we're definitely not going to answer because there's really not any. Like, that's hard to say. And then out of all 50 states, which ones would you want to visit again? And which one would we consider living in?
Okay. Top 5 states.
Yeah.
It's tough.
Utah for me. I'm going to say like Utah, maybe Colorado, California, Washington. I don't know.
I'll give you a second. Okay. My
Okay.
top 5 for visiting, at least. Not in order.
Okay.
We'll do Alaska, Hawaii, California, Utah, New Mexico.
New Mexico is really cool. Really cool. Yeah. And I think I'm considering in my top ones, like where I would want to live next. So I guess that kind of answers that. I feel like we could really live anywhere. Like, we are very adaptable, but what I'm really seeking out, and we have not decided on this, but we talk about it a lot. But what I'm really seeking out for the next place that we live is somewhere in a climate different than where we have lived before. So I really want to go out west. I would love to be near mountains. I would love to be at a higher elevation, somewhere that's a little colder, a little drier. I just found that I enjoy being outside a lot more when the weather wasn't quite so hot and humid. And I really, really liked hiking. That is something that surprised me the most, probably, that I learned about myself during this trip. Where would you want to live?
I kind of agree with what you said. I mean, I do like the idea of being out west somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
I don't mind like the warmer climates. Like if it was just, if I got to pick, like Arizona or Nevada would probably be up there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I like
Yeah, you would live in Las Vegas, but I don't know about that. It's so hot there. I also think I need to see green. And I think the desert is beautiful, but I don't think it's as beautiful as you do.
Fair. El Paso. Awesome city.
El Paso was pretty cool and good food. Oh, we didn't even say that. Like, I do miss like Tex-Mex so much. So which state has the highest gas prices? California.
California and Hawaii was expensive.
But on the border, coming from
Arizona.
Arizona.
Like Needles, California was crazy.
Mm-hmm. Like
insane.
$8?
Yeah, it was wild.
Yeah. And that's not where it is, what it's at like in most of California or even New York.
Yeah, Needles was crazy.
Yeah. What about the lowest gas prices? I mean, we were traveling for long enough that things fluctuated a lot.
Oklahoma?
Yeah.
Mississippi?
Yeah. I don't think there's that much variation aside from like those really, really expensive cities in California.
Yeah.
Like, it's expensive here. Which state had the worst traffic or roads? Wilkins thinking, I will say he drove like 99.9% of the time.
Yeah, worst traffic. I mean, again, I think just being in the van, like being in big cities with stuff, like being in Austin, which is already kind of brutal traffic, wasn't fun. There really weren't too many times you're like stuck in traffic or had to deal with it. Like I really tried to time it where we wouldn't be places. And if we were like early, like one time we were trying to get through Atlanta and we just like stopped and waited for a couple hours because we can stop and chill for a bit or we can sit in traffic for a bit. So we avoided that.
That's true.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know there's anywhere we really went to that was like super tough.
What about Oatman, Arizona?
Oh yeah, that was a donkey and then Old West shootout recreation traffic jam.
The worst roads, I mean, everywhere has bad roads, I think. But like, we traveled a lot of places where we were going like out to a national park and we would have to drive on, they called them different things, but like not unestablished roads, but like unmaintained, like roads that weren't maintained regularly. And in the van, everything is like what would you say? Like it's like every bump is like multiplied like tenfold. So if you're going over like a kind of gravel or like washboard road in your car, it's going to be bothersome. But in the van, it's like unbearable. And we'd have to go so slow on washboard roads, and we'd have to avoid potholes, or like every dish would like go like this. So everything we just took a lot slower. Okay, this question I should have put in the yarn store part, but somebody asked if somebody from outside of the US was coming to visit and wanted to check out a yarn store or two, which state or place would you recommend?
In California.
Where specifically would you say? Like the Bay Area maybe to go to?
I would like do the PCH, honestly.
Yeah. So that's the highway that runs the coast, and it's a beautiful drive. I mean, so if you're coming from outside of the US and you fly into California, either northern or southern, you can drive the PCH, you can hit a bunch of yarn stores, and you can get like a whole bunch of different landscape. You can get beach. If you go up far enough in Northern California, you get like these beautiful forests. If you come inland a little bit, you get mountains, you'll get snow. I mean, California has like almost every different environment.
Maybe like Joshua
want.
Tree's like not too far from LA. So
yeah.
You can do San Diego. Yeah. California is, if you're here for like 10 days, I think that's probably the answer.
Okay, so this question is about our logistics. So this is Karen wondering about your trip. How did you budget for it? Did you have sponsors? The places you chose, how did you decide on them? What shops were the most accessible based on location? I live in a location where the shops are not very close, so I buy online from 2 shops I consider my local yarn stores. Are all the shops accessible online? And then perhaps a listing would be helpful. And I did share earlier that we do have a map that has all of the stores. It has all the stores we visited. I think I might have to update a couple of things, but it definitely has all the stores that we've done tours at. So that is already available it's on nittydaddy.com. So how did we budget for our trip? So we did not have any specific sponsors for the trip itself. We had already established like working together on Love and Stitches before we started traveling. So we just used that money, basically our own income, to fund our trip. We don't have a house payment or anything because we let go of our lease and we bought our van. So that took care of our living expenses. And then everything else was things did get a little more expensive because now we're paying for gas. We didn't have a car before. We're paying for car insurance. We also, again, didn't have a car before. So that was a little bit more expensive. And we probably spent more money on food than we normally would because we were trying lots of things. But other than that, our expenses were roughly the same, I would say. So we were able to pretty much kind of just exchange things like an apartment for a van and, be a little more mindful of some other expenses so that we could cover our costs on, the gas and everything. And so we kind of just exchanged things and kind of kept our same like personal budget. And that's how we covered things. And our income mostly comes from 2 different areas. So we have the Love and Stitches membership that I created and manage, and Kent helps me with some of those things. And then we have our YouTube videos, which have advertisements on them. And those are the 2 main parts of our income. So just from those that we already had, we were able to kind of maintain everything to continue working on those while we traveled. And then you're really the person who played a large role in choosing where we visited and our route. So you can share more about that.
Yeah. I think a lot of that was just trying to chase good weather.
Yeah.
Like we didn't really want to be in snow and we really didn't want to be over 100 degrees. We did pretty good at avoiding those, at least like reasonably. It snowed on us in Alabama and in
January.
Yeah. And like during the summer in Wyoming. And then we hit 107 or whatever in South Dakota.
Yeah. That was hot.
But yeah, that was the big part, was just chasing the weather.
Yeah, definitely. And we did talk a little bit about like what the hardest yarn stores were to get to, kind of saying that they weren't really that hard. But I would say out of all of the stores that we visited, I think there were 2 that weren't online. But most stores I do think have the availability to shop online. And if they don't have a storefront online, they're flexible. Like if you see something on their Instagram and you call them and they'll ship. So I think a lot of stores are open to that, especially since COVID. They've kind of had to change their business model a little bit. And they're able to support that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Our next favorite thing, national parks. This was so much fun. So how many national parks did we visit? I think in total we went to 52. And how many are there?
63.
63. So we have a few more on our list that we're going to be visiting this year.
Yeah.
Which are?
Isle Royal in Michigan, Voyagers in Minnesota, and then eventually Mammoth Cave, which is like just up the road.
That we still haven't gone to yet. Oh yeah. Which one was your favorite?
National Park?
Yeah.
I really like Big Bend.
Mm-hmm. In Texas.
I really like Capitol Reef in Utah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Yellowstone is awesome.
Yeah. I liked Glacier.
Glacier is very cool.
In Montana.
Yeah.
A lot.
Denali was sick.
Yeah.
And there's a lot that are I feel like underrated. Like all the ones in the Dakotas were pretty cool. Teddy Roosevelt.
Mm-hmm.
Was great.
The ones in Hawaii were really cool too.
Yeah.
Like they had, it's the same system, but I feel like it was a little bit different. Like there was a lot more attention to history and culture, or maybe it was just because it was new to learn about. And that was really special.
Yeah. I mean, all the parks are great. There's not a bad national park.
Yeah. If you want to hear more about national parks, we did talk a lot about them in our last one, because I think we did this almost exactly a year ago. We were halfway through our trip and we had already gone to a lot of parks. So we talk about it more in that.
I can also make a video where I talk about every park if you guys want.
You said you were going to start a podcast.
Every state's food and then every national park.
You can just have one podcast per state.
Yeah.
But you have to be in that state when you're recording it.
All right, back on the road. Let's go.
That'd be fun. Okay. What was your favorite thing about van life? Was it everything you thought it would be? Anything you will miss? Anything you're happy to never do again?
I think I liked all of it. I think I was pretty well prepared, at least looking back now, for most things.
Mm-hmm. My favorite thing is being in a beautiful place and waking up in the morning and seeing a beautiful location. We didn't have that often. I feel like when you think of a van life, somebody that you're following because of van life, they are going and showing all these mountain tops that they're on and beaches that they're at. And we really didn't do that a lot because our main purpose was to get from one yarn store to the next one with a little bit of national parks and travel in between. So there were more days where we were in a Love's travel stop parking lot sleeping than we were in a really beautiful location. But when we were on a campsite or something I don't know, we did stay in Grand Canyon. Mm-hmm. Those were my favorite places to stay. What will you not miss?
When we're all done, I won't miss I don't know, having to find somewhere to shower. Honestly, it's more the stress. What if something goes wrong every day? Because if I feel in a normal traditional role, if I was commuting in a car and I get a flat tire, that sucks, but it's fixable.
Yeah.
But in the van, it's if we have a flat tire and we can't get it fixed, then we have to find somewhere to stay and get it fixed. And getting the van serviced is harder than a normal car because it's so big and heavy. And so I think there's always a stress there. What if something goes wrong?
Yeah. And somebody asked, same person, have there been any problems with the van breaking down? I think we only had 2 big problems. We had a tire thing. Yeah. We've had several tire things.
We had 2 real tire things.
What happened again?
We had a nail that made it flat, and we found out when we were in Tucumcari, New Mexico. And then we had a tire do everything except explode. It was gashed in. We were in Kansas City, I think.
I don't remember where we were with that one. I just remember that I had driven. No, wait, that wasn't in Pennsylvania?
Oh no, that wasn't a real break. That wasn't a real issue.
Oh,
that was a 1 in a million thing.
Yeah. There was a rock inside the tire well or something like that.
Yeah, it got stuck between the wheel and the brake, and so it was grinding of this rock.
Mm-hmm.
So we popped the tire off and the rock just fell and it was fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had 2 actual tire things. And it's some other little things, but nothing too bad yet.
Yeah. And then inside the van, our inverter, which is what makes converts the power to be able to like use a normal plug, fell off inside the van, and we didn't know until later. And so we finally had, like, we're forced to stop and get that properly fixed. And once we did, it was fine. It was like, why didn't we do this forever ago?
Yeah.
Last section here, we're going to just do some like random and personal questions. So let's just see. One question is, are there any cool fan stories that stand out in your memory? And what were some of your favorite fan moments? You're ridiculous. We did a lot of really fun things. Like, we tried to do, and I don't think we started this from the beginning, but at some point we tried to have a meetup at every yarn store that we were filming at. So like our typical filming day would look like an hour before the store opened, usually like 9 o'clock in the morning, we would start filming so that we would have an empty store and a quiet background. And we would, quickly as we could, we would walk around with the store owner, filming the tour, sit down and film our interview. And then as the store opened, we would transition to filming, like all the B-roll shots, which is all like the close-ups of the yarn. That would take another hour, sometimes 2. So usually like 3 hours of filming. And then we would have around lunchtime, a meet and greet, or just like a knit time. Or if the yarn store had one already established, like a weekly one, we would try to stick around for that. So that really became like the highlight of our weeks, at least for me, because it was really just fun to get to meet people. And sometimes, we knew far enough in advance, or we knew enough people in that area that we would be able to share it. And we had a lot of people come, like big groups, just come to see us. And then other times it was, maybe it was more last minute, or maybe, there just wasn't as many people in the area that like watched the channel. And so we would kind of just get to like go to the Stitch Night as like guests and just, hang out and everything. I'm trying to think if there's any like moments that stand out. Actually, I definitely have one. I'm trying to remember where this was. We were in a national park, and 2 times in national parks, we've actually met people that we've met before, but only like briefly met. And then we saw them again in a national park, and we like hung out together. So one, was the family that we hung out with. Remember, they had the 2 kids. What park were we in? Now I can't remember.
Teton.
Oh, we were in Grand Teton National Park, and we were like, do you want to keep hanging out? And then we were like, let's meet at this next like hiking spot. And then we hiked together, right?
Yeah, we saw them we tried to, at least. I think that's where the parking got really bad. We got lost at some point.
One of them we did, and then once we got separated. But they were like, hey, remember we met at a yarn store in like another state? And I was like, yeah, I remember that. And then we were able to like all hang out together. And then that happened again in
Wind Cave,
South Dakota.
Yeah.
In South Dakota, we got to meet up with another person we had previously met at a yarn store, and they had made one of the national park hats. So we like took a picture together, and that was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
I think those are my favorite like standout moments, is like meeting people in the knitting world outside of the knitting world is always cool.
Definitely.
So, somebody asked how many hockey games you went to, but I feel like you got to go to a lot of sporting events as we were traveling around. Do you have any favorite ones that stand out?
I don't know about favorite. I mean,
maybe like a stadium or arena that was new to you, that you got to go to.
Yeah, going to Ohio State was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Going to the Shoe for a game. We looked at last year where we got to see the Stars in the playoffs in Las Vegas. Like we were just, it just timed up while we were there. That was pretty fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean,
did it time up while we were there, or did we intentionally drive to Las Vegas to fly out of there for a wedding?
It was like the cheapest place to fly out of, and it timed up well. But yeah, I mean, that was fun. I mean, the other stadiums we went to were really cool too. Like, I mean, I guess Kansas State, Kansas, Missouri, went to games there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of like any other hockey games. Went to Pittsburgh this year.
Mm-hmm.
Went to Columbus, the Blue Jackets game the year before.
We did a fair amount.
Yeah. Tampa.
This question is from Yvette, how does your family feel about what you've been doing with your travels and your business? And have you thought about making a blanket for your mom and dad for living with them? What does your mom think?
I think she thinks it's cool. She likes like watching us on Find Friends.
Mm-hmm.
She'll like call me like, I saw you were driving, so I figured it was a good time to call.
Yeah, exactly. My mom is the same way. She loves watching us on Find Friends. I think at first they probably thought that it was like a little bit odd. But now it's like very normal for us. It's just what we're doing. And it's made us even more flexible with like our lifestyle to be able to see them. I mean, we've certainly seen a lot of my parents because we did make this our home base and we've been staying here. But we've also gotten to see your mom a lot too. Like we stayed with her for a month, like last December almost. And then another, like a couple of weeks this past December, which is something I think that we still could have done before, but it was like made easier because we were already on the road.
Yeah, for sure.
And I have not until recently thought about making a blanket for my parents. Several people have actually suggested that. I would definitely make a blanket for my parents, but I don't think they would use it.
Probably not.
So I don't know if it's worth it. I have made some things for my mom. Like I should probably make her more socks, but we definitely need to do something big to like thank them for letting us stay here for so long. And this question is from Jessica. Did you find that your relationship with Kent changed as you were traveling? Personally, I find that traveling can bring out the worst as well as the best. And I wonder what that was like long term.
Yeah. I mean, I think we spent so much time together. I think it was good.
Yeah. I think it was good too. Like, I mean, obviously there's always going to be like times where you like bother each other. I mean, I think the only things for me that were like getting overwhelmed by being in such a small space together, because we had already worked and lived together in a small space in a like 700 square foot apartment in New York. So we were used to that. But then now we were like together for everything. And it's hard for us to get out and get our own time in the van because we were constantly on the move. So something that we started doing, and I hope we can continue to do that this time, is once a week, we each have an activity that we do alone while the other person stays in the van with Toaster. So for me, that's like going to a coffee shop and hanging out. And then for you, you like going to the movies.
Yeah.
So we're going to try to do that throughout. But I think overall, it's made things better because we have to communicate constantly, and we almost are like too dependent on each other. I think like even when we got back here and I'm like, I need to go to the store, I'm like, Kent, I need to go to the store. But I think like since we've been here for a few months, that's kind of, we've gotten more independent again.
Yeah.
But getting back into the van, I mean, I don't anticipate it being an issue for us really.
Nope.
I just want to thank everybody for watching these videos and supporting us in any way that you do. It's definitely not lost on me that this is not only my job, but also your job, and that we get to do something so fun and exciting. That was my dream way back when I was a school teacher, to be able to, you know, sustain my life with knitting. And this is even beyond like what I ever really dreamed of doing. So I never want to take that for granted. Coming up next,
Canada.
We are doing Canada. We are leaving in just a couple days, and we are going to still be filming along the way. But I think things are going to look a little different because we want to take what we learned from the last trip and put it into this trip and make things a little bit easier. We traveled really, really fast, and that was stressful. It was good, but it was stressful. And so this time we're taking things a little bit slower. We are not committing to doing a bunch of filming. So I think you're going to see more vlogs, more of the day-to-day stuff. I also think we are allowed to film in national parks again. So we might get to actually share a little bit of like that hiking and things. And that will also allow us to incorporate yarn stores in that without having the commitment of filming and editing a full tour. So that's what's coming up next. And after that, who knows?
Who knows?
We're traveling at least through August. That's what we know right now. Cool. You have anything else to share?
Later, Gators.
Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.